This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Yo. Oh wow, dog's already fighting right off the bat. There, hold on a second. Crazy. Gotta get that camera set up. I don't know. They're arguing. They're fighting somewhere else. They're fighting behind me, so I can't get them. They're not going to be in this spot. But yeah, Terry, if it's really bothersome, oh, I hope it doesn't cancel out. Well, you know, I can't help you out there. You know, if the streaming shit at YouTube sucks, then it's going to not work. Okay. I have the fastest internet connection there is, and some nights we just don't get connection, so we don't need the crying, whiny babies. You know, if I get disconnected, just wait around because I'll come back on. Okay, don't be what do you call it, like fickle, or you know, just like and you just take off. Just wait a couple minutes. I mean, it's so frustrating when you guys just, well, it's disconnected, so I'm leaving now. I mean, just wait 20 seconds. You know, 2 minutes maybe, and I'll come back on. God, it's so frustrating. It's just like it's like kids, you know, playing video games or something, and they go, "Oh, it's broken, I'm done." Just wait a couple minutes. No big deal. And there's a lot of other shows and shit going on right now. So the thing is, if we don't get around like 200 people, I'm just going to not do the show because I can't spend that much time putting shit together and having 90-something people here. Maybe I'll start doing my shows again at 9 o'clock at night. You know, it's either the drama shows or everybody watching. You know, the criminals doing Delphi videos. You know, whatever it is, it's just. It absolutely is not worth my time to have like 90 people. Okay, I can't do it. You know, it needs to be like, these stories need to be heard by more people than that. So, you know, today isn't one of my happy days. See that right now? 100 people. See, why do you think that is? Because we're not covering Delphi? Is that the problem? We're not doing Summer Wells? We're not doing... what do you think that is? Go ahead. No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's too much drama, and people would rather watch. See, that's the thing is, here's the thing. Here's the reality. People would rather watch a fugitive that's on the run covering Delphi case than an actual true crime channel discussing cases. Okay? That's the saddest part that you can ever come up with. Is like, wow. Unbelievable. Now, it's not because of bad weather. And apparently somebody's using my name and going into chats and doxing people, but that's YouTube's fault. You know, it's not my fault. I've reported the accounts over and over, and they just seem to not give a shit. Nah, I don't think it's watching sports. Just drama, YouTube, and everything. So we'll see how it goes in the next 10 minutes. If it stays hovering right around there, I'm not going to do it. We'll just come back another night. Yeah. I'm not going to do Delphi for a while. Yeah, YouTube never helps at all. You tell them that there's an impersonating account, and they do absolutely nothing. I mean, it's unbelievable how long you have to wait. It just, people are out there doing damage, and they just don't care. But it's okay, you know. It's like, you know, I know it's not me. However, it makes you look a certain way to different people. You know. It is exhausting, Brian Joe. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could, like, give people brains, but I can't. You know, that's the thing. They're interested in what they're interested in. Go get him, Blue. Get it. There you go. You get to watch the battle. Oh, man. She did like a praying mantis move. She stood back with her two paws and went, wow. That was awesome. I think it will, Sensible Crime. Someday, YouTube is going to get in trouble for their lack of response in doing something when it's necessary. I really do. I think something really bad's going to happen at some point because they're not doing anything. They're not. I tweet to them and I say, "Do better, YouTube," and they just never do. They don't care. You know. Oh, look at that! He's got the little paws there. Anyway, it looks like they're having fun. Okay. But tonight's like every other night, no matter what, even though we only have 131 people watching, we still have to keep raising the funds to help out the channel and the charities. So that's what one of the problems is when you only have 130 people in here, you diminish the number dramatically. I think it was, somebody also sent me a video today about another, like a 1960, I don't know what year it was, 1960 something, and it had the hey, thank you, Brian Joe, appreciate it. It had the they have the DNA profile of the killer, so you wonder how come you guys haven't done genetic genealogy on this, and maybe they just didn't have the funds. So I sent that along. I was emailed it by Angela Vincent, I believe, so I sent that on to Misty Gillis, you know. Hey, thanks, Lee D with the Audio Caspian Horses Rock. How's she doing, by the way? Thanks, Eugenie and Amber Maiden. Yeah, I do have some updates here. Let me check something out though. going back on that one. Welcome, Sensible Crime. Thank you, guys.
Ocean wave, ocean wave.
Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave. YouTube is, I'm, whoa. Did she just fall asleep and like, did you see that? Chloe fell asleep in like 10 seconds. She was out cold over there. Hey, thanks, ABCHS. Look at that. I just turned around, she's out cold. What? Wait. Wow. She fell asleep in like 10 seconds. That's insane. Wow. How did that happen? Wake up. Maybe the taco smashed on your head will wake you up. Yeah, I admit that's kind of weird. I mean, she was just doing a praying mantis death jab literally 2 minutes ago. And then I was doing something else and I look up there and she's so exhausted that her head's falling off the side of an arm of a little tiny, I don't even know what you call that thing. She's pretty camouflaged. Like if you squint your eyes, you can't see her that well. Oh, you don't have to be jealous of Chloe. She's here all the time. You guys can see her. She's a Gray Hughes Investigates freak dog, just like Blue is. Go get a Blue. Up, right there. Up, 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 up. There you go. There's Blue. See? Thanks, your gypsy. All right, I mean, we only have 154 people, but if I was doing Delphi, I'd add 500. But I'm not doing Delphi. I only do Delphi once every couple of weeks now because I wasn't even doing it at all until the recent social media angle to it, and then now it's like, you know, do a call in every couple of weeks. Well, Jen H, maybe you're right that a few showed up a few minutes later. Yeah, this one. Well, before I get onto the actual case, there's a couple update articles here. You guys remember the search for Brendan Santo nears 3 months. So this is the kid that was on Michigan campus and Michigan State campus and disappeared just randomly in the nighttime. I remember he had the keys of his roommate, something like that. It's been nearly 3 months since Brendan Santo was last seen in Michigan State University, but there's still no sign of the missing Rochester student. See, that's weird now. Now it's weird. Because if he fell in the water, he would have floated up somewhere. You know, somebody would have found him by now. Santo 18 disappeared just before Halloween during the busy weekend of the Michigan versus Michigan State football game in East Lansing. Investigators said they're still doing everything they can to find him. Let's see what this says.
It's been nearly 3 months now and still no sign of missing Grand Valley student Brendan Santo of Rochester Hills.
He was last seen at Michigan State University on Halloween weekend. So where does the case stand tonight? Our Sandra Ali spoke to investigators to get some answers.
Brendan Santo disappeared just before Halloween during a very busy weekend on campus at Michigan State. But what happened to him? I've been speaking to investigators, and tonight we're walking you through what's being done to try to find him.
It's not every day that a young college student goes missing without a whole lot of leads.
Friday, October 29th, the night before the game between Michigan and Michigan State, Brendan Santo went to visit friends at Yakeley Hall. Police say shortly before midnight, the 18-year-old Grand Valley State University student left the dorm.
He had intended to walk back to the Brody neighborhood, which was less than a half mile west southwest of Yakeley Hall, and he never made it to that destination.
Brendan vanished. In the area where his cell phone was last detected, security cameras on campus weren't working. By Saturday afternoon, police had a full-blown missing persons case on their hands. Police now believe Brendan made his way to this area, Beale Street near Michigan Avenue, not far from the dorm.
Who reported him missing? Was it the friends he was going to see in the Brody neighborhood or the people he had just left?
Yeah, some of his friends did report him missing.
There's a lot to the investigation police aren't sharing. Where was Brendan Santo before he went to the dorm? And who was he with earlier that evening?
Those are things that are part of the investigation that we're aware of, that we are just not necessarily discussing publicly at this time.
In the days and weeks to follow, police, along with hundreds of volunteers, organized.
Thank you, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles.
Several searches. They've combed this area on campus, along with Brendan's family. From the very beginning, the primary focus, the Red Cedar River that runs through campus.
Brendan had an iPhone on him when he went missing. Our MSU Police Digital Forensics and Cybercrime Unit have worked very close with the Michigan State Police Technical Services Unit, and they have utilized advanced techniques to review cellular, smartphone, and GPS data.
Brendan's iPhone hasn't been found, along with his car keys, the 14-karat gold rope chain necklace he was wearing the night he disappeared. The last time his credit card was used, Friday the 29th, just before he disappeared.
But it is a criminal investigation.
That's a difficult question. I mean, at this point, this is not a criminal investigation.
The Monday after Brendan's disappearance, divers started searching the Red Cedar River.
There are a lot of challenges in searching the Red Cedar River. The current of the river itself is about 5 to 6 miles an hour. So we have utilized not only canines, but sonar and other underwater technology to assist us in identifying areas of interest to put divers in the water.
As the days and now weeks wear on without any sign of Brendan, the mystery into what really happened that night continues.
Thank you,
we
Tina.
can't even comprehend what the family is going through at this point. Our hearts and our thoughts go out to the Santo family.
They remain diligent in their promise to continue searching and do whatever it takes to bring Brendan home.
It's a credit to the family and their friends that have helped them to keep the message out there.
Right now, there's a $20,000 reward that leads police to find Brendan. In the meantime, investigators say they are planning another search of the Red Cedar River. It's all at this.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying, Rainbow, is that like right over here, the river's pretty unobstructed. There are branches and so forth, but I put pins where I think if he was going to get snagged on something, it would definitely be in a place like this. I mean, it's, really wooded. I mean, hell, even right there, you can see the branches on the ground, meandering around, and then right over here, there's another spot where it looks like it would be almost impossible to get through that. And even if it did, then it would come down here, and you got this pretty clear spot, and then right in here would just be almost, I would say, zero chance for a body floating down like this to not get stuck on something in here and make it back out to here. There's no way. I'd be absolutely shocked if that happened. So if I was them, I'd look from here in this direction. Thanks, Tawny Lee. If I could actually decide for them, that's what I would say, I would start searching. I would actually check this entire area. I would have checked that a long time ago, though. And then check this area. And then check this area. And then, then obviously you look around in here. Because the water, I think, flows this direction. I think we figured that out. Thanks, Amy CHS. And Tawny Lee. Sarita. Cheyenne R. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, basically, they're just There's no leads. We don't get to know the inside info they have. I think there's something really strange with his roommates. You know, remember how he had the key to his roommate's car or something, and his car keys were back at the dorm, but he walked. So why would he have the key? I don't know. If he just maybe he had the roommates. It wasn't a roommate. It was a friend that goes to school there. He didn't go to school there. He actually was going to school at Grand Valley State University right here. And then he drove over to Michigan State for the Civil War game between Michigan State and Michigan. So there might be something related to that. If he had the wrong colors on, for example, at the wrong time when people were drinking. And so he was over here visiting apparently some girl, and then his phone pings out here, but then he just disappeared. And you can see why they think maybe the water. Let's hold on, spam. You can see why they might think that this Red Cedar River might have his body in it, because it sort of winds around where he was going, and maybe he wasn't familiar with the campus and just sort of fell in at some point. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if the investigation starts leading back to somebody that he knows. And by the way, did any of you guys listen to the podcast that regarding the case last night? I think it was Kathy Jones. It was actually pretty interesting. Had a lot of the same thoughts that I was having, because I was thinking how close it was to her home, and maybe it was somebody close to her home. And one of the main suspects is her stepdad, and that they used to be a suspect, and they called him a person of interest. I guess they quit using suspect over there. And then also there was another thing that I was thinking but didn't say it again, was the what was it? I can't remember now. It was something similar to that. Very it was a really strange case. You guys should go listen to it. It's really good. It's like a 7-parter. Goes through, has some interviews with individuals, but it was cool because we covered it, and when you're listening to it, you already know everything. All the little details are out there, except there was a lot more. And well, yeah, here's what I was remembering. I remember thinking at the time that, remember how they said that she was kidnapped and then for about a day and a half was like tortured somewhere and then her body put there? See, that was always, it bothered me at the time. I just didn't say it, but I was like, man, that's so, why would somebody, this looks like it's right on her route. Why would they bring her back to where she got abducted from? And so a lot of them believe that the weather made it appear that she had died. Well, it just changed the dynamics of the timing. A lot of them believe, yeah, the podcast was Flat Rock. A lot of them believe that that she was killed right then, that night, and that makes the most sense, doesn't it? They find the skates there. I mean, why would the guy abduct her and bring her all the way back to where? It just doesn't make any sense. So that was something that a lot of them think, but some of them still do believe, the investigators, that she was held somewhere. I bet you now they could really determine that. What would have been interesting is if, what was the content of her stomach? Because I would imagine she ate some food earlier in the evening before she went to the skating rink. And if it was still in her stomach, well, that would indicate that she was killed that night. Right around that time. And they would do that back then, so I don't know why that was something that didn't seem to really indicate anything. anyways, that was just a quick aside there. And then also there was on the Yahoo News put out on February 14th an update on the case of Taylor Young. Remember, that's the one where he disappeared from a, basically they see him at a bank teller and then he was withdrawing money, and somebody messaged me today saying that my interview was helpful for the family and other people. The interview that I did with the girlfriend and the mother of the girlfriend, well, not the girlfriend, she didn't come on, but the mother of the girlfriend. So I don't know, I really don't know how it helped or anything like that, but apparently that they got information out of that they didn't have themselves. It has been over a month of unimaginable anguish for Tiffany Robinson, the mother of 26-year-old Taylor Young, who went missing on December 9th in Houston, Texas. There's actually a video, but I'm just going to read it. Tiffany Robinson, Brian Young, it goes to, is not about just a hashtag at the Bring Taylor Home and hashtag Taylor Young. It's about a human. It was a Thursday, it was evening. I had just called Taylor, so this is the mother talking. She had just called Taylor. It was like 7 o'clock. Well, you should be able to look at your phone and have that number exactly so that people aren't thinking you're just coming up with something. So whenever she's talking, she needs to say, yeah, I called him at 7:06, And I know that because I looked at my phone. Let's see, I called his phone. Then he didn't answer. I texted him. He didn't respond. He's a skateboarder and everybody don't stay by their phone, so he usually could call me back. So I didn't think nothing of it when he didn't answer the phone. And next thing you know, I heard a knock at the door. It was the young lady he was dating, or is dating. They had been dating for less than a year, and she said, I've been texting Taylor, but they actually have the exact quotes of what was in this interview. So, and she said, I've been texting Taylor, but we haven't spoke since early today. He's not responding to me. I said to myself, somebody had to put this phone there, referring to the phone that was found on the ground by the bank in the bushes. Let's see. I said to myself, somebody had to put this phone there, or he put the phone here himself, but the responding officer only saw his car go through the drive-thru. So they said, well, he didn't put his phone there. Well, that's what the responding officer said. They ruled out foul play because they didn't see nothing happened at the ATM. The area where the phone was found, the area is very busy and have cameras everywhere. So in my opinion, if it was a carjacking, if it was a robbery, yeah, somebody got in his car with him, but I can't say none of that because nobody reported any suspicious behavior in the area. I have ruled out random act of violence. You know what I'm hoping is that, he's like a really smart kid, that he just took off. Like he just said, I'm sick of everybody. And just took off and started, he knows he's smart enough to get a good job somewhere and he's somewhere else. But it seems like, and he doesn't have to tell anybody anything. Like he could be in, North Carolina right now, working at somewhere, but you would think the police, though, are monitoring his social security number. But maybe they're not monitoring a social security number. I mean, how often do you use your social security number in reality, like on an everyday basis? So he could have got a bunch of money out, because remember how he withdrew money? And that was what he used to get started somewhere. And then he got a job, and I'm just throwing this out there as a sex trafficking. Why would he be? He's too old to be sex trafficking. I don't believe that at all. I think he's, I mean, I'm just hoping that he left on his own. And he's just somewhere wanting to start a new life. Although you'd think he would call his mom at some point. So that's what I'm hoping for. Probably not really likely what I just said, but that's what my hope is. The area where his phone was found, the area is very busy and have cameras everywhere. So if, in my opinion, if it was carjacking, if it was robbery, yeah, somebody got in his car. I now believe that this is somebody who probably knows him that did something to him. Who? I don't know yet. I don't know if he had a credit card with Capital One or anything, but if we had that to see if he used his card somewhere else as he was leaving, we can then determine a direction to take. The police have submitted all the necessary documents. I just don't know how Capital One have all the paperwork, and knowing that it's concerning a missing person and he have accounts at the bank, why would they treat their client like that? Well, here's the thing is, they don't even know if he's missing. I mean, like, his car is missing and he's missing. So I could sort of see an angle where Capital One's kind of like, man, well, what if we give away, you know, information that we have here that might give away where he is? You know, I don't know. That's the thing is, you know, he's an adult. And I think if they found his car and he wasn't around, then it might be a different story. Yeah, I mean, the you know, the girlfriend. The thing that bothers me is that the girlfriend story and the girlfriend's mother's story don't match what Mrs. Robinson's what she knew. I mean, it's all over the place. You know, like who found the phone and stuff. That's when I was like, okay, forget it. That's it. I know my child is not going to just leave and not call me. There you go. Not call my sister, not call his dad, not call his best friend who he talks to every day. So I cannot imagine why someone would want to hurt him. He and I like to hang out at Cheddar's, and we just went in the back of the restaurant and said a prayer and then happy birthday and let balloons loose. Happy birthday, Taylor. Tiffany Robinson said, when I got home at night, I couldn't stop crying. I woke up crying. This is unimaginable. I just feel that is not over till God says it's over. It's hard to post help me every day, and nobody. Well, I've tried to help and give her a platform, but she seemed like she was upset that I had on the just right in the middle. We were just covering it randomly, and the girlfriend's mom called in like I did something, you know, bad or something. I mean, it's really weird. It's like, no, she just called in and started talking, and if it helped in some way, good. Glad it helped. It's hard to post help me, and we already read that part. My mama go hard for me. I just needed a break, but I don't think that's the case. Okay, that's what she's hoping. And sometimes I say, I hope he's somewhere looking at us saying, my mama go too far. My mama go hard at me. I just needed a break. But I don't think that's the case. I usually turn my phone off, and I have my favorite set to if my son or my siblings or my mom will call, my phone will ring. I can't turn my phone off no more because I don't know what phone number Taylor's going to call me from. His phone was in the bushes. But see, you could make a case that his phone's in the bushes because he didn't want to be tracked. And maybe he already had another phone. That's what I'm hoping, that it's something like that. Not very likely, but... Hello? It gets so quiet in here. It's just... So apparently this is something that Taylor's mom wrote. So I'm just going to read it right here. Okay, hold on. All right. Says when handing out. Yeah, let's see. Maybe I can just put it on the screen. That should be good, I guess. Hold on. Let me fix it. Hey, thanks. Living it, as in living the dream. Alright. Says why, who, what for, how could you? When handing out our missing person flyers of hashtag Taylor Young, strangers imply to me that it was his girlfriend. They say it's always the spouse or the girlfriend. If this is the case, I simply don't understand why. I don't know this young lady, her friends, nor her family. According to her, she and Taylor met on Twitter and have been dating for 9 months. She moved into Taylor's apartment around November 26th. Taylor disappeared on Thursday, December 9th. So, man, that's such a short amount of time. And she left his apartment Saturday, December 11th, 2021, because her friends advised her to. Why would they do that, though? After Taylor disappeared, and before she left his apartment, she asked for help to get into various of Taylor's accounts. She was not alone when she made these attempts. She readily shares confidential information about Taylor's investigation with anyone. Is this being purposely done? On Saturday, December 11, 2021, she asked me about Taylor's investments. How do you go from seeing footage of Taylor at the ATM to his investments? Well, that's kind of weird. Her and her friends kept mentioning Texas EquuSearch, but when I asked them for a location to look, they get silent. So my thoughts changed from random act of violence to someone who knows Taylor. So that means in that other article, she's actually referring to Taylor. Now, Taylor's friends have told me about her physical violent behavior towards Taylor and his dog Gigi in memes about, that's hearsay, so we don't know if that's real or not. Gigi and memes about her tracking his location. She lied at first, but later admitted some of the aggressions. She readily tracks Taylor's location. She knew where Taylor's cellular phone was the entire time. So why did she need me to help her find Taylor's phone when she knew where it was all along? Well, that's a good point. Yeah, like, hey, look at this right here, and just... That's weird. Does this mean she would harm or get someone to harm Taylor if she didn't get her way in the relationship? She told the police that they were not having problems, and I learned that he was going to break up with her. She and her friends have deleted their social media accounts or set them to private. Fake pages are being created to write negative comments and or used to follow Taylor's story. Less than 7 days of Taylor's disappearance, her sister makes a false complaint against a Houston Police Department detective, and her mother took to YouTube on a crime show, that's me, took to YouTube on a crime show to speak about and create a negative narrative of Taylor. I don't remember her making a negative narrative of Taylor. Do you guys remember that? I don't remember that at all. Do you? I don't remember the girlfriend's mom creating a negative narrative of Taylor. Now, let me know if you guys did you remember anything like that? I don't remember that part. So I don't think that's accurate. Yeah, so that's not accurate by the mom here. So that's what I'm saying, everybody. This whole thing is weird. And by the way, she didn't say she got into his bank accounts. She got into his Google, Gmail account. And maybe there was some receipts in there that talked about, I'm talking about the mother of the girlfriend. Remember how They hacked into his Gmail. It wasn't his bank accounts. Okay, so just getting that straight there. Next, another one of the girlfriend's family members created her own narrative concerning sex
I had a
trafficking.
gut feeling she had him
Are these
taken out.
storylines being created to distract or deflect what really happened to Taylor? Thank you, Candalee Woodward Stone. Got to the 40% mark. You. Yeah, they made it sound like he was like a really bright kid and everything. I think she was probably, you know, if there is something to do with the girlfriend, then maybe the mother was, you know, they were trying to spin a better light about her, but I don't have any proof of anything. All I have is one story and then the other story that we've read online, and they seem so different from each other. So that's why I was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go do something else. Yeah, it's it just got weird. Is Taylor's disappearance similar to Gabby Petito? I haven't had the opportunity to compare. However, whomever did this to Taylor never imagined he is so loved by many. They didn't imagine that Taylor's disappearance was going to get national coverage. Thank you to everyone who was willing to share Taylor's story in efforts to #bring Taylor home. Continue to pray for Taylor's safe return. God, I need you every hour, minute, and second. Taylor needs you. I pray in the mighty name of Jesus that whatever mind the conspired against Taylor, their hearts and minds soften and tell where Taylor is. He is a human being, not just a hashtag. If you have to purchase a burner phone to tell where Taylor is, who are involved, or if you saw anything on December 9th, 2021, or a theater, an anonymous tip line available at 800-222-8477. Case identification number Taylor is 1649758-21. Anyways, pretty crazy, right? I mean, it is interesting because he's missing, you know. I mean, we don't know. Well, it's weird because it's hard to say. Is he missing, or is he just he chose to do something else? I mean, the parts that make me nervous about him, something bad happened, is that his phone was on the ground, although that could just be he didn't want to be tracked. There was late night ATM withdrawals, apparently, but we don't even know if that's true. You know, that was told on that phone call. Thank you, Dan Carr. And also, you know, that he hasn't contacted anybody in his family, and he seems like that's something he would do. Now, they've never found his car, and so that makes you think that he went somewhere on his own. Here would be the worst case scenario. Well, in terms of finding him, that he left willingly on his own, and then he and his car accidentally went into like a pond or something. Because then it's like, man, you don't have any leads or there's nothing nefarious. Although you would think if he left on his own, he'd be heading towards somebody. Like he would be, you know, going to be with somebody out there. And then that person out there, you'd think might say, hey, you need to say something to somebody. Yeah. The fact that his car's missing and he's missing still gives you hope that he just left on his own to be somewhere. Hey, look at that, the Hawk. I just drank out of the Pock cup earlier.
Heart.
Yep. The Psycho and Whack Job Killer. Yeah. He had a good job that he enjoyed and was doing well. Yeah. Yeah, well, you never know though. Maybe he wanted to get away from that the girl that he was with. He was probably like, ew, jeez, and he took off, and maybe he wasn't really getting along with his mom as well as she makes it sound like. But I guess he has a friend that he would have told something to, I would imagine, and other people out there. So I guess that's where we're at. Hey, we got to 50%. Thank you. Yeah, I think missing persons cases are the worst for everybody. Especially when... I think they're the worst when... Well, let's see. What would be worse? That you think that they... Well, I think it's worse when you don't think that they're alive, but you still don't have them. So then you're going to always be wondering if they're alive, and always in this negative state for years and years and years. Now, apparently he took out... Well, if it's true, what the girlfriend's mother was saying, then maybe he took out some, $1,000 a couple times, which isn't really a lot of money. I mean, $2,000 isn't a ton. Oh, yeah? Huh. Angel Simpson said she's blocked somehow. I don't know how to unblock her. The only thing that works nowadays is to get the you have to get somebody's URL, and then you have to add them for special permissions, and then as soon as you do that, it unblocks them. There's some people that you can't unblock just by hitting unblock. It's pretty crazy. So hold on one second, I gotta check.
Bless you for covering these needed cases, Yarg. Hugs from Owen.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't see it blocked here, so you're gonna have to send me an email with your URL, and if you don't know how to do it, I can't help you. You just have to click on your picture on a desktop, and then it goes to your channel, and then you can send me the URL up there. That's all I got. Hey, thanks, Vid Inquiries. Alright, so now I'm going to switch over to the actual case for tonight. Wanda June Anderson. Oh, wait, hold on. It's weird, I just emailed somebody on the Beidelman case today, one of the detectives, and then somebody just emailed me something for some reason. So let me read this really quick. Clear up something. The slab of cement you're wondering about, that's a bike trail. Diane, her aunt, the house where Stanley on Germain, and her mom's house. You can get in all three places within 10 minutes. Stanley is not who you all think he is, and always been a disrespectful, abusive man. He beat my cousin and gave her black eyes. And all the time, I just got this email just now. So yeah, I mean, he did kind of sucker us. If this is true, right? Abusive man, he beat my cousin and gave her black eyes, and all the time, my cousin was ready to file for divorce. The rumor was it was not his baby, but his brother, as I listened to the phone call between y'all It really upsets me, and I wonder, was we listening to the same thing at the funeral? Stanley was already with a woman. Remember the classmates that called him and said it was on the news? Is the same classmate he started dating right afterwards at the funeral. Stanley's hand was scratched up. Her mom is still living. They hate him because we all know that he murdered them. The cops just visited my cousin. Yeah, I talked to him right after that in November, and she told, again in November, wow. And she told them that Stanley did it, and she really wasn't going to the store. She was going to go, she was looking for Stanley. She just didn't tell her parents because she knew how they felt about him. Everything that he said he did to the men that beats on their wives is what he did to Janice. Where they found Janice's body, it is not for all, found Janice's body is not for all from Germain, where Stanley kept his bike now that they got his DNA. I pray that they arrest his ass. Tell me to do, arrest his ass. Tell me, do he sound like a man that loved her, saying he will not be in the courtroom, not one day. If they found the killer, I would think that he would want justice. Wow, that's pretty weird, right? Yeah, I think everybody that listened to it was thinking that he just seemed like he was, Anyways, wow, it's really crazy because I think this is the same person, so I'll try to create a dialogue with them. That's interesting. Because I sent, on the video, she commented, and I responded to her comment and said, hey, send me an email. And finally, I think she got it and then sent me an email. So now we'll, I'm going to talk to her. I would love to get the other side of the, the actual family of Janice on. I mean, I knew we were speaking. It was just really weird. It seemed like he wasn't trying to, like he's really raw person when he was talking to us. I think almost everybody who watched him thought he wasn't lying or anything like that. And he was just sort of this crazy, just absolutely sort of raw individual. But you always wondered why the detectives would take the time to fly out there if there wasn't something. Because I remember before I interviewed him, there was 4 detectives that went out there just a little bit before, but he seemed so interested in, I don't know, if you listen to the whole thing together, he seemed like he seemed sort of genuine, people sort of liked Stanley, like he was just kind of raw, but he was funny a little bit, and, I don't know. But anyways, I just got that email as we were talking, so I didn't switch to the next story yet. Market is unread. All right, let me see. I gotta go to Angel's YouTube channel and try to unblock it. Let's see. Yep, it was blocked. And yeah, so even after I unblock it and go back to the account, it still says unblock user. That means it's blocked still. So what you have to do, which absolutely sucks, is you have to go to YouTube with the channel URL. You have to go to YouTube, then you have to go to the community section, on the, well, not the community section, the settings, then, yeah, under settings you go to community. It's different than the other communities. And then you have to add them as an approved user. Okay? And then as soon as you save that as an approved user, it removes whatever craziness YouTube put on it that they don't ever seem to fix. But I worked on this with a some support person for a while, and then we finally figured out how to do it. Alright, so there, and now if I go to her account, about, and good, yep, so there we go. Now you're available to get on there. Type something in, angels. You should be able to do it. Wait a minute.
Granny, you weren't supposed to do that. You're so mean.
Oh, that's right. I should have said, "Hey, it's too late. It's too late," and been mean instead of taking time off the show. God. Okay, are you guys ready for Wanda June Anderson? This is also in Tennessee here. And this is Nashville. You know, one thing that I found immediately right off the bat, just so we get this out of the way here, is look at this. Look at this. Remember the suspect last night, Warner Edward Adcox? Look how close he lived to Wanda's house. I mean, that almost doesn't seem possible that that's not connected somehow. I mean, look, if you zoom out this whole city and you got them living that close to each other. All right, there she is. Wanda June Anderson. Well, there's tons of these cold cases. I'm doing another child one because I looked up an age range. I was looking for like a serial killer, and you know, they aren't solved, and because these will almost never get talked about, so I figured we might as well, you know, cover a few of them anyways. I got even another one that I was supposed to talk about last night, but then something led me to this one, and then I switched over to this one. There's Miss Angel, see? I don't know what happened. Pretty crazy. Somebody probably accidentally blocked you, and you don't show up in the block list either. Alright, an 11-year-old Jolton girl was savagely beaten with a steel pipe and raped Thursday night in the Belmont area. She died of massive head injuries in Vanderbilt Hospital, so she must have lived for a little bit of time. She was Wanda June Anderson, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Noah C. Anderson of Route 2, Jolton. More than 30 state and metro police had already begun a grim around-the-clock search. This is 1965. I mean, I wasn't even born yet. I mean, that's how old this is. I wasn't even born yet when this case happened. And I'm old as dirt, so. She was Wanda June Anderson's daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Noah C. Anderson. More than 30 state and metro police had already begun a grim, around-the-clock search for the killer who may have committed another murder and 2 rapes in the quiet university neighborhood in the past 9 months. I think whoever is doing this gets as much kick out of trying to kill people as anything else. Thank you, One Sly Angel. Are you guys the same? Miss Angels and One Sly Angel. Okay. Got the same color scheme. Well, yeah, not really, but almost. I think whoever is doing this gets as much a kick out of trying to kill people as anything else, said George Curry, investigator for the District Attorney General. This is the most vicious thing I ever saw, the veteran investigator added. Assistant Police Chief Donald Barton said last night a special team of 25 officers from all divisions of the Metro Force have been assigned to work full-time in an attempt to solve the murder. The officers are headed by Homicide Lieutenant W.A. Mickey McDaniel, it looks like. Added to this task force are 6 Tennessee Bureau of Identification agents and investigators for the District Attorney General's office. Governor Frank Cement offered a $5,000 reward yesterday for information leading to the conviction of the attacker, the red-hair Anderson girl who celebrated her birthday last Saturday, was babysitting with with 6 nieces. So she was actually babysitting. Thank you, Richard Watts, for becoming a channel member again. Let's see. The red-haired Anderson girl who celebrated her birthday last Saturday was babysitting with 6 nieces and nephews in her sister's apartment at 1-2. Okay, so that means she must have a much older sister that already has... Wow. So 6 nieces and nephews in her sister. Was babysitting with 6 nieces and nephews. So her sister has 6 kids, and they're all... That's wild. Am I not hearing that right? So here's 1213 16th Avenue. So apparently it was in this house. I think it's been remodeled. Looks different now. And I think some of the pictures I've seen are over here. Like a different part of the house. Maybe on the back side. But it was in that house right there. Her sister and brother-in-law, Mr. and Mrs. Howard May, had gone out to West End Beer Tavern. The killer entered the small apartment and struck the girl with an 18-inch length of pipe, apparently as she slept on a bed. Wow. Thanks, Richard Watts. Dr. W.E. Core, Metro Medical Examiner, said the girl was struck at least twice. Hold on. Yeah. These articles back then are so dense. One of the blows left a hole almost 3 inches square in her skull. Blood spattered the walls and ceiling of the apartment. After the girl was raped and apparently choked with the upper portion of her pajamas, she was left for dead in high weeds in the backyard. Vanderbilt surgeons operated for 3 hours Friday and again yesterday in an attempt to save her life. Shortly after the girl died, hospital attendants combed her hair and took scrapings from her fingernails, which will be hand-carried to the FBI laboratories in Washington tomorrow. The pipe used in the attack was sent to the laboratory yesterday. Curry said the brutality of the 2 rapes and 2 murders in the Belmont area in the past 9 months indicate the criminal is a psychopathic killer. So they must think there's another one related to it. The victims or relatives of the victim in other attacks in the area in recent months had also been at beer taverns or drive-in markets when assaults occurred. The pattern of the recent crimes, he said, indicates they were committed by someone familiar with the community and taking pains to watch people and observe their habits. He has the attack planned before he ever goes into a house. Mrs. May, the dead girl's sister, said Friday she thought the attacker was after me. Whoever did this knew the apartment, she said. McDaniel said a room-to-room search of all houses in the neighborhood most of them rooming houses failed to turn up any new evidence. Officers continued last night to comb the apartment where the attack occurred, searching for clues. We just don't have anything solid to go on, Barton said. Police were combing the area near the murder scene early today for a young man spotted by Metro Sergeant Robert Jocelyn, 3 doors from the murder scene about 11:15 p.m. yesterday. The man ran before Jocelyn could stop him for questioning. Combing the area near the murder scene for a young man spotted by Metro Sergeant 3 doors from the murder scene. The man ran before Jocelyn could stop him. 6 Metro patrol cars were called into the 16th Avenue Edge Hill area to search for the man. Police were ordered to stop anyone in the area after midnight. Peabody College police have received several reports of a prowler in the campus area fitting the description of the man who bolted from Jocelyn. The pipe used in the attack and the bloody shirt found near the scene Friday are the best clues in the case so far, Barton said. This depraved criminal must be apprehended and brought to justice, Clement said yesterday in announcing the reward. After the announcement, State Safety Commissioner Hilton Butler, TBI Director W.E. Hopton, and Highway Patrol Chief Greg O'Rear met with District Attorney General Harry Nickel to review the evidence. Barton said the general public is extremely concerned about the death. He said the police department has received hundreds of telephone calls offering bits of information. Each shred of information will be systematically checked out, he said. Metro has given the case to the department's top priority, Martin said. The girl was a student at Jolton Elementary School. Let me see, is that the same one as... Yeah, man, no way, really? All the way over there? It's like miles away. Yeah, it's 10 miles. I mean, you could take a bus, maybe? Yeah, we know. It's right here on the map. Let's see. About 10 members of the Anderson family maintained a sleepless vigil at the hospital. Anyways, yeah, she ended up passing away. And... yeah, usually you see the schools kind of right next to where somebody lives. Police were questioning a 22-year-old former nightclub bouncer here today in connection with the rape murder of an 11-year-old girl Thursday night. Police said Huden Edward Mathis, 22, has been charged with the March 27th rape of a 51-year-old woman within 2 blocks of the attack on Wanda June Anderson. Oh, that's got to be that guy, right? Wait. No, that's a different person. Huh. God. So this Mathis guy lived within 2 blocks, and look at where Edward Adcox lived there, or Warner Edward Adcox. So that means this other guy lived right around in that area. Crazy. Police said the woman, Mrs. Edith Woods, identified Mathis from a police lineup and from mugshots as the man who slashed her throat and raped her at her home in March. Police said earlier they believe the two are connected, but Mathis has denied both attacks. This gives us much more to work on, Lieutenant John Soros said, but it is too early to speculate whether it clears up the Anderson case. The Anderson girl was beaten with an 18-inch iron pipe and raped in the backyard of her sister's apartment while she babysat for the sister's 6 children. Wow. I mean, that's just amazing to be 11 years old and then have a sister that's old enough to have 6 kids already. I mean, I guess it's not outlandish. I mean, if the sister's 27 or something, and basically you had a baby every 15 months or something. Officers said the girl was apparently dragged from the bedroom to the backyard before the attack. I wonder how nobody woke up or anything. Mathis was charged July 1st with robbing a taxi driver of $15. Oh, I gotta get the next one. I had to go get some liquid. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. I did that for my 6 kids a whole weekend. I don't know what that means. Alright, FBI to test evidence of Nashville girl's death. A report was expected today on the results of tests made by the Federal Bureau of Investigation on evidence in connection with the rape murder of an 11-year-old girl Thursday night. Police officers and District Attorney's investigator George Curry flew to Washington Monday to have the evidence found in connection with the death of Wanda June Anderson of suburban Jolton analyzed by the FBI. Police were questioning 5 suspects Monday in connection. And you know what? She probably lived in Jolton. Now that I think about it, she probably lives here and was just at her sister's house babysitting, right? So it's not really. She doesn't live at that house, even though I put Wanda's home. That's just where she was murdered. It's not her house. Thanks, Caddy Corner. Police were questioning 5 suspects Monday in connection with the slaying. Houghton Edward Mathis, 32, Nashville, already charged with rape, was questioned Monday. Mathis had been charged with the March 27th rape of Mrs. Edith Woods. Officers said earlier that they believe the attacks are connected. The Anderson girl was beaten with an 18-inch iron pipe and raped. Wow, 25 months. David Arnold, thank you. Key man hunted in rape and murder. So this is, now we're on to July 22nd. Started off on July 18th, but she was killed on the 16th. Key man hunted in rape murder. Nashville police report they have learned the name of a man who they hope will be the key in solving the case of a pretty 11-year-old girl who was raped and then fatally beaten last Thursday night. A search is now underway for a man who we hope will be the key to solving this case, said Detective Lieutenant John Soros. It may not work, but we are very optimistic about it. The officer declined to name the suspect, but said he disappeared shortly after the attack on Wanda June Anderson, as she babysat with her 6 young nephews and nieces last Thursday. Wanda June died Saturday from head injuries inflicted with an 18-inch length of pipe by the intruder. Soros's comments was the first hint of progress in the case, which has involved both state and local officers for the past 6 days. I got a $5,000 reward, which is, getting close to, what is that? What was that, about 40,000? So now they're switching it, like, it's a hammer, not a pipe. Seen death weapon. Well, what do you mean? So when you found the pipe, you couldn't tell the difference between a pipe and a hammer? Yeah, it's like you've been reporting it was a pipe and over and over and over again, and it was a hammer. Police now think a hammer or a similar object was the weapon. Well, I thought you said you found it at the scene. That killed 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson last week, not an 18-inch piece of pipe. A source close to the investigation into the brutal rape murder said last night police had studied slides and hey, thanks for being here for 3 months there. Her name was Amber. A source close to the investigation into the brutal rape murder said last night police had studied slides and pictures of the dead girl's injuries and had concluded the pipe couldn't have been the sole murder weapon. Okay, so it's another weapon then. None of the officers investigating the case would confirm reports about police headquarters that the pipe was not the weapon, nor would they deny the reports. The search for a man termed a prime suspect in the case has mushroomed. Major Joe Casey called out the entire patrol division and gave them a description of the man and ordered the patrolmen to check every tavern and night spot in an attempt to locate the suspect. The additional manpower was ordered after police received information that the suspect had been seen in or near local taverns. One officer who refused to be quoted by name said the discovery of the pipe near the spot where the young babysitter had been left to die in high weeds in the backyard of 1213 16th Avenue South could prove to be just a coincidence. Right, well, didn't you notice if there was blood on it? The pipe only had a drop or two of blood on it. Well, there you go. Makes sense. The pipe only had a drop or two of blood on it, the investigator said. It could have just been lying there when the girl was carried over it. Police said they had not received a detailed report from the FBI. It seemed like you'd have hair and like some blood on it and stuff like that. Police said they had not received a detailed report from the FBI laboratory in Washington on the pipe and other evidence. One investigator said police had determined after a study of the slides and pictures that the girl was hit at least 4 times with a great amount of force. The youngster was attacked and raped in her bed early last Friday morning as she was babysitting with 6 children and at the home of her sister. The girl died last Saturday at Vanderbilt Hospital as a result of massive head injuries. So far, police have been unable to come up with a solid clue that might lead them to the vicious slayer. However, the officers anticipate a major break in the case when they locate their prime suspect, a man who has been the object of a citywide manhunt for the past 4 days. Yeah, probably. A At first I thought that said psychic, but I think this is kind of like profiling when they bring in the psychiatrist. I haven't read this yet, but police are considering calling in a psychiatrist to examine at least one suspect previously questioned, by investigators in the rape murder of 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson. Investigators said last night they tentatively decided to use a psychiatrist after running into a blind wall during lengthy questioning of a former mental patient. Meanwhile, a citywide search was still underway early today for a man termed a prime suspect. One officer who has worked on the case from the beginning said police are having considerable difficulty narrowing the list of suspects because of the scarcity of physical evidence. Police said Friday a hammer or a similar object could have been the murder weapon instead of the 18-inch pipe. The pipe and other evidence collected at the scene of the brutal attack was taken to the FBI crime laboratory last Monday. Hey, thank you. Maybe Sunshine. I appreciate it. I think we're about, where are we at here? About 60% maybe. Ding, ding, ding. I might have to take an apple break though. I'm sort of getting, feel like I'm low on sugar. But maybe I'll do that here after the next one. Let's see. Wanda June was raped and beaten while babysitting with 6 children at the home of her sister. Police said the attack occurred shortly before midnight Thursday, July 15th. The girl's unconscious body was found in the backyard of their apartment at about 12:30 a.m. Friday. She died of massive head injuries in Vanderbilt Hospital. The governor also has assigned 6 agents to the Tennessee Bureau of Criminal Investigation to work in conjunction with local authorities on the case. Metro Mayor Beverly Briley had asked the Metropolitan Council to approve an additional $1,000 reward. Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's this crazy, I don't even know, I couldn't even make out what this was talking about. Identity sought of 5 in suspects' photos. Oh, I see. So the suspect has photos, and these are people that are in the photos, and they want to get a hold of these people. Police took pictures of 4 girls, I think. Police took pictures of 4 girls and 1 man from a suspect in the rape murder of Wanda June Anderson yesterday and asked anyone knowing the identity of the people to call police headquarters. How did they take it from the suspect? Maybe because he left his apartment and that was inside of it. We feel it could be essential at least to find out who these people are, said Lieutenant John Soros. They may or may not be connected, but we have got to learn their identity before we can determine whether there is any connection. Soros said the photos were taken from the suspect after police received information he termed as just another of 1,000 leads, all of which we are checking out. I wouldn't want to directly connect these people with the man at this time, Soros said. Well, how did you get these then? It is entirely possible that these people don't even know this man. They don't even know this man had their pictures. Yeah, I guess if he was stalking them, yeah. Although, I don't know, it's hard to tell. They kind of look like they're related, maybe. I mean, these two kind of look similar. I don't know. This one doesn't really look like the rest of them yet. That's pretty creepy though, isn't it? Wow. I wouldn't want to directly connect these people with this man at this time. Police asked news media to bring the pictures to the attention of the public. The man from whom the pictures were taken was picked up by police last night, so they caught him, for questioning in the case. Police said the man was questioned last week and released. They refused to disclose his identity. The suspect was black, was arrested last week on vagrancy and loitering charges. He was found guilty of loitering. I wonder why we'd have those pictures then. He was found guilty of loitering and fined $25 to be worked out in the Metro Workhouse. The pictures were found on the man when he was arrested. When questioned by officers about the pictures, he informed police the girls were all dead. Meanwhile, a multi-state police dragnet was still out for a man described as a prime suspect, so that isn't the guy that they were looking for. Police said they have received information the man may have left town. Still, another suspect who told police he could have done it will be questioned today by a psychiatrist. That is weird. Local authorities received the FBI crime laboratory report yesterday on physical evidence in the case, but refused to make the evidence public. Homicide Lieutenant W.A. McDaniel said the report will be helpful in solving the brutal July 15th murder of the 11-year-old Jolton babysitter. Another collection of evidence taken from several suspects in the case was sent to the FBI lab yesterday for analysis. After yesterday's report was received from the Washington lab, high-ranking police officers and investigators from the District Attorney General's office went behind closed doors and studied the report. They said it had been previously agreed that any discussions of the crime lab findings would be detrimental to the investigation. That's weird. Why would that guy have these pictures in his wallet and then said they're all dead? Maybe they were people that he, I don't know. I don't know how he'd have those. Maybe they should have looked at him for other things. But I think it's almost break time for the eating an apple. All right, about shit, I don't even know. Maybe almost halfway through this. Where is it? There it is. All right, well, I'm going to go get mine. Yep, and this is the time where you can help out the channel if you'd like, and the charities at the end of the month by helping me eat the apple that's on the screen. You got the, this is just a break in the middle here. We're at the hour and 30-minute mark, almost exactly halfway through. I'm going to be eating an apple, and then you can see the Chloe in blue again. Hey, thank you. I'll just do the stem and a bite. Well, we did the stem and Lori Fisher bite. And the mayor, Billy Juliana. And Jiggy England. Thank you. There we go. Oh, Sandra Hofford. There we go. Oh, Miss Angels. There you go. Tony Lee. Awesome. Oh, charisma. There you go. I'm telling you guys, you got to get one of these. They're pretty good. Oh yeah? That sounds pretty good. What happened to Chloe? Chloe! Chloe was just sitting there, but she took off. Hey, thanks, Streaming Girl. And living it. As in living the dream. I don't know where Chloe went. We gotta go find her. No, there she is. Up, 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 up. Oh. As soon as I stand up, then she jumps up. Yeah. There she is. So, how's everybody doing? There we go. Hey, thank you, Suzanne Marcella. Yeah, we're about 80% right now. 81%. Oh yeah. I think one of the photos I've seen out there is from the back side here. Wait, is there a... Oh, that'd be awesome. Oh, they did it. Man, how amazing. On the alley. There we go. That's it. Boom. That's exactly what I saw. That is it. Hasn't changed. Still there. You doing good? Awesome. You better be subbing for me, Mother Burrito. Chloe. Mm-hmm. It looks like she's smiling. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do one more bite and get back to it. Mmm. Awesome. Yeah, I wish I had a lollipop. Yeah. All right. All right, you guys. Back to the story. Wow, it was so weird. I could actually, you guys couldn't see it, but this image right there, I think, is this. Yeah, it's just they changed the stairs a little bit. Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, that's just crazy. Look at how wild that is. I mean, it is. That's almost exactly the same spot. Because look at the chimney. Hey, thanks, Sandy Lee.
Gee. Gee.
But watch this, right? So here's this chimney over here, right? And when everything here, this is the only thing that they just changed how that works. But watch. I'll just put it up like that. Look at that. Oh, you can't see it. It's almost the same angle. So all those are there. They made like some stairs that you could walk down, but look at the window, like that window right there, and then the brick down below right here. Not sure what that little square thing is there, but wow, look at that's a person right there. Didn't even notice that originally. I think that's a person, right? Doesn't that look like a little, like a barefoot and like a little kid? Yeah, so it's still here. Okay, this one's a little bit longer here. Let's see. Police versus brutal killer, the endurance contest. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but the rape murder of 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson was the work of a deliberate criminal who carefully planned and meticulously carried out every step of the violent crime. This is the thinking of W.E. Bud Hopton, chief of Tennessee Bureau of Criminal Investigation, one of the special investigators in the case. Hopton said yesterday there was a definite similarity between the murder of the young babysitter from Jolton and the brutal rape beating of another victim in the same Belmont area earlier this year. In each case, the man took great care and worked in such a way as to be sure he wasn't going to be identified. He usually sneaks in a window in an adjoining room and slips up on his victim from behind. Then he strikes the victim on the head with such force they are rendered unconscious or killed. So are you saying that he was necrophilia? No chance 9 or something. I don't know. Maybe chances? No chances. Looks like a 9 there. The man we are after never takes a chance. The first victim was sleeping in a room with a big window, so he dragged her down a hallway and raped her in total darkness in the same room in which he entered her home. By doing this, he had a ready exit through the same window he entered if someone else had entered the house. He never operated in a room where he could have been seen through a window, and he knows exactly where he is going and where his victim will be before he enters the bedroom. So this is like a cool profiler type article here from 1965. George Curry, special investigator for the District Attorney General's office, had a slightly different opinion of the type of person who would commit a crime of this nature. It is impossible to say whether the man planned to cover his tracks as well as he did, Curry said, or whether he just lucked up. I think whoever, when the first guy was talking, I was a little bit skeptical of how do you know for sure? Does it make him that cunning and planning for some of these things? I mean, he ended up bringing the other girl outside. I mean, Wanda was outside, actually. It is impossible to say whether the man planned to cover his tracks as well as he did, Curry said, or whether he just lucked up. I think whoever is responsible for this gets as much kick out of killing as anything else. This is the most vicious thing I ever saw. If the person had raped the girl first and then tried to kill her, that would have been a different thing. Alright. See, I think they're suggesting exactly what I said a minute ago. If the person had raped the girl first and then tried to kill her, that would have been a different thing. You could speculate that he attempted to kill his victim to conceal his identity. However, it is the other way around in this particular case. Oh man. See? That's one of those sick necrophilia. I mean, she was still alive, but he didn't know that. It's not logical. This investigation is very difficult because you can't use logic on a case like this. A logical person doesn't usually commit this type of a crime. Then to add to the difficulty, it didn't occur in a typical neighborhood. In this one area, you have all types of people. You have some good people who have lived in that area for years. There are people living out there who moved here from out of town. We can't look into their backgrounds like we can the natives. When you find such a variety of different types of people, police officers are hampered in their efforts to clarify the initial confusion. W.A. Mickey McDaniel, Metro Homicide Chief, offered still another opinion of the type of person the killer might have been. I don't think you could pinpoint any particular type of person capable of doing something like this, McDaniel said. The killer, I mean, you've got like the three bears here. We have a wide variety of persons in all walks of life to kill themselves. Let's see. Daniel said the killer could have been perfectly normal. You don't have to be crazy to kill. We have a wide variety of persons in all walks of life to kill themselves. There are all types of people of different degrees of mentality and stability that make up our suicide and murder files. Wanda June was attacked and savagely beaten and raped while she slept at the home of her sister at 1213 16th Avenue. Her unconscious body was found shortly after the attack in the backyard of that address, lying in high weeds, which is weird. That's exactly how the victim in last night's case was, right? Remember the high weeds in Kathy Jones? This is 80, yeah, 801, okay. Her unconscious body was found shortly after the attack in the backyard of that address, lying in high weeds. She was found by her sister and brother-in-law when they returned from a nearby beer tavern. She had been left earlier to babysit with 6 children and at her sister's home. An immediate investigation was launched by homicide officers. Early the following morning, a squad of 25 Metropolitan Police officers were assigned to work specifically on the case. The investigation was scheduled on a 24-hour-a-day basis, Saturday morning, July 17th. Let's see. Worked harder. 5 hours after the meeting, police intensified their efforts. They were no longer searching for a man who raped and beat a little girl. They were looking for a killer. Wanda June had died at Vanderbilt Hospital. The officers were called together and an investigation scheduled. Was planned. Okay, and then down here. Every man has one object in mind, Curry said. That of catching the killer. Shortly after the investigation was launched, investigators uncovered a prime suspect in the case. A citywide manhunt was begun, and a number of police informers were alerted to be on the lookout. After several days of searching the metropolitan area, a multitask alert was issued. It amazes me that everybody has so far been unable to locate this man, Hopton said. We have 1 or 2 people who actually know the man, but they haven't seen him. However, the time element between the time we first wanted him picked up and the time of the arrest could have beneficial to the investigation. Could prove beneficial to the investigation. The longer we are before we catch this man. It's a little bit blurry to me. See how can you guys see the writing very clearly? It's like it's hard to, it's not the greatest. The longer we are before we catch this man, the better our chance of coming up with more concrete evidence to link him with the case. The longer we go before we catch this man, the better our chance of coming up with more. That sounds like a pretty glass half full type comment there. Yeah, no, hey, we're not even trying to find the guy, because by the time he gets here, we're going to have a mountain of evidence. McDaniel estimated that more than 13,000 man-hours have been spent on the investigation up to the present. The first few days we were flooded with calls, McDaniel said. Each and every call was thoroughly checked out by a team of investigators. All the information gathered by the officers were funneled through the Central Investigation Headquarters, where it was compiled. The piles of reports on evidence gathered by various officers is still being evaluated. The first part of any investigation is to eliminate the elimination phase. Hopkins cited another phase of any investigation of this type that always hampers police in their search for a killer. We have had several persons to confess to the crime, and I can barely read that down there. Let me go up here. However, a thorough check of men sometimes eliminates them entirely from the list. So even people that confess. Assistant FBI Director Alan Belmont described the case as a terrible crime and told local officers he was particularly anxious to be of assistance. A week after the evidence was carried to the lab, police received a report on the findings. The officers had announced prior to the arrival of the report that the contents would not be made public. After a high-level conference behind closed doors and a study of the report was made by investigators, it was apparent the officers were not elated by the findings. A source close to the investigation said the police had studied slides and pictures of the dead girl's injuries and had concluded the pipe couldn't have been the sole murder weapon. A hammer or a similar object was the weapon, police said, and not the piece of pipe, as was first thought. Let's see. Another suspect was arrested on vagrancy, but anyways, it wasn't the person. He can little sleep. Source McDaniel, Curry, and Hopkins, along with a number of other investigators, worked with little or no sleep the first few days of the investigation. The pace has slowed considerably now. The officers insist that the investigation is still making steady progress. A lot of hours have been spent, a lot of leads have been checked out, and a lot of sleep has been lost. But the officers still are working with as much real and enthusiasm, or zeal, I can barely see that, zeal and enthusiasm as they did in the earliest stages of the investigation. How long can they hold up? How long can a brutal killer roam free? Well, apparently a long time. Let's see. I think this is one where... actually, it's this one. I wonder if this other person who they were referring to, that was 7 months before. There's 3 people here. Tragedy stresses hazards of babysitting. So, the hazards of babysitting were again written in terms of tragedy this week when 13-year-old Vanessa Gale Valencourt was slain Tuesday night in Gallatin. By coincidence, Nashville police have had additional cause this week to remember the dangers involved when young girls are left alone to care for small children. While the Cumberland River was being dragged Wednesday for the Valancourt girl's body, the Tennessee Supreme Court confirmed the conviction of John Randolph Clark in another babysitting killing. Clark was convicted of killing Mrs. Paula Herring, this lady over here on the right, 18, at her Creve Hall home in February of 1964. Miss Herring was shot to death while babysitting with her 5-year-old brother. Clark was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the crime, but still is free on bond pending an appeal to the state Supreme Court. At the time, Nashville police were investigating the rape and bludgeon murder of 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson. So this is this is only like 7 months later. Wanda June was beaten to death with an 18-inch length of pipe or a hammer, according to the police. Because they are young, alone, and often inexperienced, babysitters are likely prey for the psychopath on the prowl for rape victims. The young are considered easier to break in on, said George H. Curry, special investigator for the district attorney. They are alone with small children, and they're often inexperienced. They are more apt to let a stranger in the house, and when a prowler tries to break in, they are likely to panic. In many cases, prowlers have known to watch a house and learn that the family's adults have left home, leaving a babysitter in charge. Such situations are almost always dangerous. In addition to the murder cases involving babysitters in recent months, police have investigated several complaints of rape. There have been instances where prowlers were frightened away by a babysitter's screams or phone calls to police. In one such instance, recently, the teenage daughter of a minister was babysitting at a neighbor's home when a prowler attempted to break through a door, Curry said. The young girl called her father and then held a butcher knife before the window in the door to show the prowler that what would happen to him if he got in, he added. The prowler was frightened away when the girl's father rushed to the house. To protect themselves, Curry offered several suggestions for the girls who accept babysitting jobs. First, a babysitter should know the family for whom she is working. That is perhaps the most important thing. Curry pointed out that the man accused of killing Vanessa Valancourt, Maxie Gordon Cox, for whom she was babysitting, is a former mental patient. A girl's parents should take the time to check the background of people for whom she is babysitting. Yeah, we've had many. Remember that one really sad one where the guy said, yeah, we needed to babysit, and, try to trick the parents, total catfishing thing, and then had her go to a house that doesn't even exist really and killed her over there. I mean, it was just shitty. Remember that? He was driving like a red vehicle or something. But hey, guys, we're at 81%. We're just holding tight there. So if you guys would like to help out the channel in some way, either a channel membership or the super chats, that'd be great. Because I can't just go poof. You guys are what allow us to do what we're doing at the end of each month. I don't have any more apples to eat. Yeah, that's right, the bus, right. Like she got off the bus and there was that wacko just sitting there. I can't remember the name of that case, but it was pretty crazy. Oh, well, there goes my stomach. She would always have the number. You should always have the number of the police handy, and it's not a bad idea to have the phone number of the next door neighbor. The babysitter should insist on knowing exactly what time she is to be taken home, and her parents should know what time to expect her. If someone tries to break in, a babysitter should first call the operator or the police. The operator is probably the fastest way. She should then turn on all the inside and outside lights. Okay. Curry said his office also is still investigating the slaying of Wanda June Anderson, one of the major unsolved murder cases in Nashville recent history. It's my feeling, the special investigator added, that no child who is not in her teens should be allowed to babysit. And in those cases where young girls do babysit, they should take every conceivable precaution. The recent cases of violence to babysitters should serve as a warning to all. Yeah, it's weird how, hey, thank you, Philly. That was 1966. Well, I don't have any more sitting here. I still have the rest of this one right here, okay? Wow, look at it. You can see the brick through it. Isn't that crazy? And look at I disappear from behind it. Yeah. Youth admits slaying 2 small girls. State police said Wednesday that a former mental patient admitted to beating 2 little girls to death with a rock because one of them threatened to tell on him for grabbing her. The confession by Edward Joseph McGee, 19, came in a prison cell where he was serving a 3-year sentence for burglary. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. I got a 9,000. That's me all your score, mate. Was that good? No, I didn't think so. Wow. So how you feeling, Zozo? You're getting better? Good day, mate. Good day, mate. How about that? Was that pretty good? Weird to think my grandma was there. Yeah. Yeah. When she's 32, you're like what? 19. That's kind of weird. Wasn't too bad living it? Okay. But the only ones that would really know would be the Aussies. Yeah. Yeah, I actually went. I lived in Australia for a while, and the weirdest thing ever was the no good today. Come on. Oh, you're good today. All right. Yeah, the it was weird how the cockatoos had an Australian accent. I mean, it's not weird at all because obviously, if they're listening to somebody with an accent, they would say it. But it's weird when you look at a bird and it goes, "G'day, mate." G'day, mate. G'day, mate.
Hey, that was pretty funny, great.
Oh, no, sorry. Not good today. Oh, okay. No good today. Oh. Yeah, I guess it lasts for a while on some people. Yeah, Australia has a lot of weird stuff going on over there. All the mammals have pouches. Obviously you can look at a map and see how Australia is separated from all the rest of the continents way before that. And they got some of the most poisonous snakes and just everything. It's just crazy.
Hop aboard the wave.
The Death
Ocean
Adler.
wave.
The Death Adler. Yeah, crikey. Crikey. Thanks, Vid Inquiries. Yeah. Yes, everybody, hop aboard the wave. We are only, at this point, $30 short of the, you know, what a typical, like, kind of the low point of a night, but acceptable is. Thanks, One Sly Angel. You have dolphins? Yeah. Well, I mean, dolphins live everywhere, right? I mean, they're... Oh, wow. There was like a cat fight outside. Hey, Chloe, Blue, you got it, you got it, you got it. See, Chloe looks at me to see if it's okay that Blue's barking. Hey, Blue, 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 Blue. Oh, man. Blue. It's okay, Blue. Calm down. Blue. Calm down, Blue. Blue? It's weird how they know that you're full of crap when you're trying to imitate something. I never trick them. And thanks, Mark Pilgrim. $28 short now. Yeah. Yeah, they always try to get that last one. Blue always tries to get the last bark in. You go Blue, and he'll go, "Buh." He does that one where he goes, "Buh," and it kind of turns his head. You know, like the kid in the back seat that punches his other brother. No more punching! And then you have the one that just kind of does a little quick jab. Yeah. All right. So this guy's kind of, hey, look at that. Cammy Curry, almost there. Thank you, epic fail. Wait, what was the epic fail? My bark? What was it? You know, there's this one creature we do have here called a hellbender. I actually found one when I was a kid. And don't worry, we'll get back to this, but look at these weird looking things. They have them in, I think they're in Japan too. See these? I was in a creek and they were just kind of walking around. Now under rocks like this right here. See, those are the really creepy looking deals. And I did find one of those. They eat crawdads. They have them in Japan. They're like 4 feet long over there. But those are some weird looking creatures. They're basically a amphibian. They hang out the bottom and they eat like crayfish. That's pretty much their main diet. I think they might have poison in them too, I think. But yeah, we have lots of weird stuff over here, but Australia has just nothing but weird creatures. I mean, it's just, you know, and Tasmania, you know, they got the wombats, Tasmanian devil. They had what was the Tasmanian tiger, which looked kind of like a wolf. And the last known one died, like, I believe in 1930 something or early 1940. Can't really remember, but there's been sightings of it. You guys ever seen that thing? I mean, I'm sure I brought it up before because, you know, it's such a wild looking. Yeah, so that's it right there. See, these used to be roaming around in Tasmania. They have these crazy jaw. Look at that jaw on that thing. Look at that. But there's been videos out there where there's something that looks a lot like that. Yeah, so. All right, let me get back to this story here. So, youth admits slaying 2 small girls. The confession by Edward Joseph McGee, 19, came in prison cell where he was serving a 3-year sentence for burglary. He said he killed 2 girls because they were going to tell on him. Hopton said McGee began serving the term shortly after the slaying of Deborah Lynn Ray, 9, and her cousin Phyllis Siebers, 8, at the city dump at Shelbyville last December 17th. The bodies were found in deep mud in a drainage ditch. So, wow. Hopton said McGee was also a key suspect in the 1965 murder of 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson. So isn't that crazy? See, he was already a suspect back then. I mean, he seems like that might be, but he also looked like he's not too smart. So he admits to killing a 9 and an 8-year-old, and this is in, let's see, 1967, which is 2 years after Wanda was killed. And he was a suspect in that one before, so that's a red flag right there. Hopton said McGee was also a key suspect in the 1965 murder of 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson of Nashville, although he denied any knowledge of the incident. McGee lived just a few blocks from the Anderson girl when she was raped, so another person. Or you wonder if that's the one that they were talking about when they said there was somebody that lived a couple blocks, but that name doesn't seem like it's the same name. TBI agents W.E. Coleman and Kenneth Shelton took McGee's confession. Coleman quoted the suspect as saying he happened upon the girls in the dump where they had gone to look for discarded dolls. McGee said he grabbed a little blonde-headed girl, according to Hopton. I grabbed her and she said, "I'm going to tell on you," McGee told the officers. "Thank you, maybe sunshine." He was quoted as saying he stood the young victims up against a tree and beat them in the back of the head with a rock and checked the bodies to be certain they were dead. The rock, one of the few tangible clues to the crime, was found matted with hair near the ditch where the bodies were thrown. Wow, it's brutal. I picked them up one at a time, McGee was quoted as saying. The first one I rolled down the bank, and the second I threw her. He told officers one landed with her face up and had to slide down the steep bank to turn her over. And he had to slide down. Wow. He told officers one landed. Why did he care about that? Maybe he wanted them to drown or something. He told officers one landed with her face up and he had to slide down the steep bank to turn her over. That's strange. I wanted it to look like she drowned. Oh, there you go. He said. There you go. The bodies remained in the ditch for a full night while searchers combed the more accessible terrain. They were found early December 19th, almost embedded in mud so deep that recovery was hampered. McGee probably will be turned to Central State Psychiatric Hospital for further mental examination after Bedford County Grand Jury completes its probe. What are their names here? Again, so Deborah, murder of Deborah Lynn Ray. Something not right. Show notes. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. You got a guy that's mentally impaired. Do they feed him? Oh, so this is a Something's Not Right podcast that covered Wanda June Anderson and also Rebecca K. Green, but must also talk about this because it came up on Densol. I don't know. I was kind of wondering if this one got overturned or something. The youth was committed to the institution twice before he moved to Shelbyville to live with friends. Let's see. He told officers we got that. The bodies remained in the ditch for a full night while searchers combed the more accessible terrain. They were found early December 19th, almost embedded in mud so deep that recovery was hampered. McGee probably will be returned to Central State Psychiatric Hospital for further mental examinations after the Bedford County Grand Jury completes its probe, according to authorities. Well, I think it's obvious that he did that one. I'm just was wondering if, I mean, it seems obvious, but, you know, if he's got mental problems and they sort of fed him information and then he knew all the information, that'd be a problem. Oh, look at that. See, this is 1978, and look how Adcox is mentioned right here. See, that's what's crazy about this. I was just looking at it because we just covered last night another case, and a suspect was Warner Edward Adcox. And then tonight's show is Wanda right here, and look how close that is, right? And so this 1978 article says, Adcox, who had worked at the skating rink, was questioned about Miss Jones. So remember, he worked at the skating rink? From that podcast, he was a bus driver for the skating rink. But no arrest was ever made. Police questioned Adcox in April of 1966 when he was arrested on other charges of sodomy with a young boy about the July 1965 murder of Wanda June Anderson, 11. Police said Adcox told them he had dreamed of killing the child and several other women. But police found that Adcox was actually confined to a North Carolina prison at the time, so there you go, of Miss Anderson's death. He was convicted of assault with intent to rape a 12-year-old, I mean, isn't that just crazy? A 12-year-old North Carolina girl in 1960 and sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. But that conviction was eventually overturned on appeal, and Adcox pleaded guilty to a reduced charge. He has also been convicted of robbery in California and forgery in Texas. And he lived right there at some point, so he must have been in prison. But I mean, man, that's not even a full block distance-wise. It's like half. It's crazy. Alright, so now we got this all the way up to 2020, this really extensive, so we're just going to go through these and that'll be it. But I mean, hopefully I can get through these in 45 minutes. But they have these insane pictures in here, everything from the time. Absolutely nuts. And let me just open up this article first so I can just show you some of the pictures that are in this one. This is like the online version, but look at the picture right there. I think that's her family. Mr. and Mrs. Noah C. Anderson left, and Mrs. and Mr. Howard May, the parents and sister of the victim. So that's the sister right there she was babysitting for, and those are the parents. I mean, look at that picture. Isn't that one that you could put on a wall right there? Just really, just unbelievable. I mean, everybody has this you know, you can see the pain in their faces. Plus, they have really unique looking faces, and yeah. So these two must have been out on a date at the bar, and then these are the parents of Wanda, and that's Wanda's sister, who's old enough to already have 6 children. And then interestingly, there's a mirror with, you know, somebody sitting in the background. So you got that. And then that's the house. They're walking down the alley. So in this house right here, I think they're literally just in the front here. And if I could scoot to there, I believe they're just walking right down there in that picture. See that window that comes out, like a bay window there? It's right there. And then I'm not sure why they're inside here though. I wonder if they're wondering if that's how the guy got into the house, because she was found outside. That's another picture of them again. And that's the sister and parents of the savagely beaten rape victim Wanda June Anderson. Wait for news at the intensive care unit. So that's when she was still alive, but they probably already told her. Yeah, so that was a person. That's that same picture that was in the paper. Wow, is that that's actually the adult. That's the sister. There it is. There she is right there. So that's right in the backyard. That was a person. Looked like a barefoot, but I don't know if that is. That's the husband. They're probably talking about how the guy got in. Let's see. Shows Metro homicide officers the back porch of his first floor apartment. 11-year-old victim died, massive head injuries. And this is inside the house. Looks like, I wonder if that's bloodstains right there. Savagely beaten rape victim Wanda June Anderson showed the Metro homicide officers the bed where the victim was struck in the head. Yeah, so that is. And she slept on the bed July 16, 1965. The victim was babysitting her 6 nieces and nephews in her sister's apartment. Wow, that's crazy. That one. So that is blood on the sheet there. Alright, so I'm going to go through. This is right around the same time. I think it's part of the same deal. Like whoever wrote, because this one is February 13th. The online one was February 13th. This is February 16th in the Tennessean newspaper, and looks like it's written by Yi Young Jung. All right, so Nashville, South Carolina owner John Ingram. These links are in the description, by the way. Posed for a selfie on stage at a lower Broadway. Or am I even the right article here? Oh, that's a whole different. I thought this whole page was for them. Sorry, you guys. So it's just right over here. The not forgotten in our eyes. So it looks like he's holding up something over here. I wonder if that's just sort of a like a, I don't know if you'd call it B-roll footage, or, you know, it's almost like that, you know, like a photograph that's just, what is that called in photograph world? Not B-roll, but stock photos. There you go. And don't type in stock photos. Okay, here comes Zozo. It's coming. Are you guys still there? I haven't seen anybody type for like 10 minutes. Hello? You guys are crazy. You're listening intently. Come on. Alright, let me go down to here then. So in these articles here, that's the bed. Looks like that's the same picture there. Talks with the, let's see, top Metro Police Sergeant Frank Hancock holds a bloody shirt. Oh, so that was her. And undergarment on July 18th, 1965 that may be linked to the rape and fatal beating. Oh, so maybe that's what the killer wore and took his shirt off. Well, if so, I hope they still have that thing, because that's a treasure trove of DNA on that one, don't you think? Wow. 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson, center, former Metro Nashville Police Department Detective Pat Pastiglione left talks with Hendersonville Police Chief Mickey Miller on February 5th at the scene of Anderson's murder on 16th Avenue. Pastiglione and Miller worked the case, which is still unsolved. Above, Mr. and Mrs. Howard May left the brother-in-law and sister Anderson show officers the bed where she was struck in the head as she slept. The death of Wanda dominated the front page of the July 18, 1965 Tennessean. Hysteria broke out across Nashville when news broke about a brutal child rape. Police canvassed neighborhoods, parents locked doors, stores shuttered. Early, it was the third rape of its kind reported in 9 months. This time it ended in a young girl's life. It was hot the evening of July 15, 1965, when 11-year-old Wanda June Anderson visited her sister's Music Row home to babysit her 6 nephews and nieces. After the children fell asleep, a killer broke into the house and bludgeoned Wanda. He carried the red-headed girl outside, raped her, and left her bleeding to die. More than half a century later, neither her, jeez, I don't know, maybe I missed something on that last one. Let me go back. Oh yeah, there it is. Neither her family nor the Metro Nashville Police Department homicide detectives have any idea who the killer is. They need to just do something with that shirt. The case is the coldest unsolved criminal homicide in Nashville history. It was part of our childhood that basically destroyed our family, said Dora Mae Northup, one of the 6 siblings in the apartment when Wanda was attacked. See, every one of those kids that Wanda was babysitting are, many years older than I am. That's how old this case is. Pat Pastiglione, who worked at the scene, he retired in 2013 after more than 25 years as a homicide detective, called the killing a very strange situation. The suspect just wanders into someone's house, unseen, unheard, said Pastiglione. Or is it just Pastiglione? I don't know. Who led the homicide cold case unit the last 12 years of his career. While on the beat, Pastiglione solved hundreds of Music City's most high-profile cases, including the 2009 Steve McNair homicide-suicide. This one he couldn't crack. Working these cold cases, as time goes by, obviously, it becomes much more difficult because people memories fade, people die, witnesses die, suspects die. I mean, this case is 54 years old? This is February 2020. This is almost 2 years old here. You've got to maintain the integrity of evidence over half a century, Castiglione said last week as he looked at the brown, multi-story brick home with yellow window trim where Wanda was attacked. The home, Northrop said, hasn't changed in appearance since that fatal summer night. Police records say on the day of the attack, Kay and Howard May, Wanda's sister, so let's just go back, I'll just have this open here. So it's these two right here. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if this guy is... He looks like he's older than this guy, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you. I think these are the mom and dad, and then... Because this guy wouldn't be able to produce her. She'd have probably darker hair. It looks like she's the daughter of these two, so... I'm going to go with that. So these are... This is the couple. This is Wanda's older sister. So Wanda's sister and brother-in-law left their two-room apartment in a boarding house at 1213 16th Avenue South and went to a local store at about 10 p.m. On their way home, well, they went to have drinks at a bar, not a store. Maybe that's changed over the years. Maybe they changed it. Well, it wasn't really, because they didn't want to look like they were having fun or something. I don't know. Every article from 1965 said they went to a bar. On their way home, they stopped at, there you go, at Evelyn's bar. Okay. So they went to a grocery store. Then they went to a bar. I wonder if that's still there. Let's see. Sometimes these towns keep things. Probably not. Is there any bar right next to tavern? Wow, that's pretty generic. That place is called Tavern. On the way home, they stopped at Evelyn's bar. Wanda, meanwhile, was asleep. Yeah. Wanda was asleep in her sister's bed. So she actually was in her sister's bed, and that's why the sister thinks the attack was meant to be for her. Hendersonville Police Chief Mickey Miller, a former Metro Police captain, let's see. Wanda, meanwhile, was asleep in her sister's bed. Her nieces and nephews slept close by. Hendersonville Police Chief Mickey Miller, a former Metro Police captain, who also worked the cold case, said the killer likely came through the home's front door. The perpetrator made his way downstairs to the family's lower level apartment. Oh, wow. So they lived downstairs. And then struck Wanda in the head with an 18-inch pipe or hammer. Castiglione and Miller believe the killer then carried Wanda out the back door. Evidence showed her attacker continued to beat her in the head with the weapon. Then he raped her and fled, police said. So he killed her, then he raped her. Neighbors reported hearing noise about midnight. None investigated. The Mays returned home at about 12:30 a.m. The door leading down to their apartment was wide open, and the back door was wide open as well, Miller said. When they entered the dark apartment, Wanda's sister heard one of her babies crying. She turned a light on and saw red. Blood stained her bed sheets. It splattered the nearby wall and ceiling. Detectives would later find the girl's bone fragments in the wall. Jesus. Absolutely brutal. Let me look at this thing again. I thought it was weird how the sister seemed so... I'm not accusing her. I just... Now that I'm thinking back at how casual she looked while she was in the bedroom, looking at the sheet. Where the hell is it? How come my brain's just missing it? There. There it is. I don't know. That's the sister though. It's like she's in there and she's just kind of... I don't think I could be able to be in a room with blood spattered sheets of a sibling, you know. But everybody's different. Maybe she's been there a while and she's just talking. Blood-stained her bed sheets and splattered the nearby wall and ceiling. Detectives would later find the girl's bone fragments in the wall. Outside, her sister found Wanda in high weeds near an alley behind the home. So that's the alley. That's the home. So she was found somewhere over here. You know. And so what we can do is we can look at it, and you know, he entered the home and apparently left out the back door, and I think there's even street view here, and probably went out that door right there. And this excuse me, apparently at one time, you know, we're talking years and years ago, had more foliage around. Let's see if we go back to even like 1992. It looks like there's, you know, a little bit more bushes and whatnot back here. There, 2003, nothing. It's just absolute, like a parking lot back there. But it looked different here. See how that looks like not... That is not cement in that picture. So I think that that is... that's kind of what it would have looked like. This is 1992. And then, of course, you can't see a damn thing in 85. And I'm not even sure why they bother putting up the satellite images. Hey, thanks, Organism Gel.
Love you, freaks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Organism Gel. We all love everybody. This is the freak family here, right? You know, am I the nicest person on a daily basis? I don't know. But I'm not a shitty person. Let's put it that way. Okay. I you know, I actually know what right and wrong is, you know. I'm not hiding from the police. I'm not on the run. You know, I've never been arrested for anything. I know that makes me lame and boring and shit like that. But, you know, I'm just doing my show and I'm trying to make a difference. And with the help of all the freaks, and that's, well, it's not even just the help. The freaks are the only reason. I mean, because you're basically my employers. You know, YouTube is a broker of an employer. That's what's ridiculous about YouTube. You know, so you guys are the employers, and you guys are what make everything happen. I just do the show that makes you want to help employ me, and I donate over 50% of the net income to charities, right? So thank you. Without the generous freaks, so it's all we gotta all put in the generous freak hearts right now. Bing, 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 bing. It's all you guys. Well, I hope you guys find these cases interesting, right? Because they're, you know, nobody's going to be talking about them. They do make the paper here and there, obviously, because you can see it right here. But there was like a 40-year gap in there. It's interesting how a lot of these old cases, there's no coverage, but then in the last 3 or 4 years, because true crime has become such a big suspect. I mean, not suspect, big subject for people. Yeah, that's what I just said, Stephanie. Yeah. I mean, it's all you guys that do all of it. I mean, I could literally do a show, and if nobody wanted to support the channel or the charities that we do, then I probably wouldn't be able to do the shows, because then it's like you're spending 7 hours a day getting the research and then doing the 3-hour show. You just couldn't do it. I mean, you could if you were like crazy, you know. Yeah, there's just so many things going on out there. Absolutely crazy. But anyways, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. I've never seen you before, Stephanie Green. Do you come in here often? Okay, the doors leading down to their apartment was wide open. We got that. Blood-stained her bed sheets. And there was bone fragments. The girl's bone fragments in the wall, man, that's just... Outside, her sister found Wanda in high weeds near an alley behind the home. Police later found a steel pipe with blood on it where her body was found, but it was later ruled out as the object used to kill her. The pipe was not consistent with their injuries. Wanda was rushed to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for surgery. Officers launched an investigation. A squad of 25 police officers was assigned to work on the case, rotating shifts non-stop. 2 days later, Wanda died. Catching the killer, in the days that followed, parents locked their doors and kept children close as officers scoured city streets looking for the killer. News headlines including rape victim dies and police versus a brutal killer splashed across the front page of the Tennessean. Officers met with investigators from the District Attorney General's office and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Then Governor Frank Clements offered a $5,000 reward. Then we're on to the last page, which is really long. So, that's the exact, that's what it looked like in the backyard. Still looks, it doesn't quite look like that now. You know what they did? It almost like they just took and changed that, because if you notice, there are stairs doing exactly what you can see now, but it's got a little different wall structure. Well, they took out the wall almost. See how you can see the stairs going down, and then on this one you see the stairs going down, but they almost got rid of this whole railing structure here and just put stuff on there. All right. Every man has one object in mind. George Curry, special investigator for the District Attorney General's office, told the Tennessean at the time, that of catching the killer. We actually read that exact quote. I've never seen so much cooperation between so many different officers. Hey, see you later, Paulette Leonard. Lack of technology, including DNA testing, likely interfered with finding the killer, Prestiglione said. They didn't do autopsies, if you can believe it, Prestiglione said. Adding to the difficulty, the killing didn't occur in a typical neighborhood. And it makes you wonder if they just exhumed the body, if they could find something. In this one area, you have all types of people, he said. You have good people who have lived in the area for years. There are people living out there who moved here from out of town. We can't look into their backgrounds like we can the natives. Police expanded the search statewide, and 4 days after the attack, the FBI got involved. Wanda's yellow panties were never recovered. That's interesting. Hoping for a solid clue, local and state investigators probably... See, this guy, I wonder if... I don't know. That sounds like a serial killer move right there, taking a trophy like that. Hoping for a solid clue, local and state investigators traveled to Washington, D.C. and gave federal agents Wanda's fingernail scrapings, pieces of her clothing, and the pipe believed to have been used in the attack, but it was a hammer, right? A string of other crimes in the area led police to several people of interest. Miller said police already were investigating several girl rapes in Nashville. Several months after the attack, detectives questioned 22-year-old nightclub bouncer Huden Edward Mathis. That was the other guy that lived blocks away. After he was charged with attempted murder and rape of a woman at 1700 Grand Avenue. Let's see. Just right down the street. And this is, what was the name of this guy? Huden Edward Mathis. There we go. $1,700 Grand Avenue, 2 blocks from where Wanda was attacked. Then police soon pointed a finger at 16-year-old Archie Nathaniel Biggers, who at the time was charged with raping another woman. He was later convicted of that crime. Detectives also questioned 19-year-old Joseph Edward McGee, who sexually molested 9-year-old Deborah Ray and her cousin Phyllis Siebers, 8, and beat them to death with a rock in the Shelbyville City dump. The girls had been searching for abandoned dolls at the time of their deaths, 1 week before Christmas. Ah, man. Ah, brutal. They probably didn't have a lot of money, and they were looking for dolls that people threw away that were rich, and they just wanted to have a doll. That's just terrible. Now, we wouldn't be surprised at all, Patty. We cover it all the time. The girls have been searching for abandoned dolls at the time of their deaths, 1 week before Christmas. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 99 years in prison for Siebers' murder, and later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for killing Ray. McGee died in prison in 2014. Wow, he lived a long time. Tennessee Department of Corrections records show, so... Man, he lived almost 50 years in prison, right? Yep, 49 years. Wanda's death came before a series of unsolved slayings of young girls, including Reba K. Green, 14, and Kathy Jones. That's the one we did last night. Some of the... I want to do this Reba K. Green one, though, because that's come up multiple times. 1966. Some of the suspects questioned in these slayings were also questioned in connection with Wanda's death. Today, Metro Police Criminal Investigation Division Captain Jason Reinbold said although there was a handful of suspects, 3 men still stand out as persons of interest: Henry Daniel Wilson, Ronald Robertson, and John Donald Farrell. None of the names that I've heard yet. In 1966, police said Wilson was charged with rape and assault with attempted murder of 2 women. He was later convicted of the crimes, TDOC records show. Robertson was convicted in 1967 of molesting a girl younger than 12. Reinbold said Robertson told police he killed Wanda on 2 separate occasions, but failed a polygraph test about his involvement. It was the strangest thing. He did it on 2 occasions, Reynolds said. Robertson then pointed the finger at Farrell,
saying he overheard Farrell confess to the beating of Wanda to another man. Robertson and Farrell hung out frequently and drank. Robertson also claimed he saw Farrell peek into the victim's apartment window. After all the questioning and interrogation, no arrest was made. No arrest came. Kay May died March 17, 2014 in Clarksville at age 73. She was preceded in death by Howard May. Now that's the sister. She was preceded in death by Howard May, who died in 1986 in Atlanta at age 60. So he was way older than she was. So she died in 2014 at 73. And then you go back 28 years. She would have been, well, let's just take 30 off of that. That would be 43. She was 43, 45, and he was 60. So that means he was 15 years older than her, even in that picture. That's why he looks so much older. She was preceded in death by Howard May, who died in 1986 in Atlanta at the age of 60, and their son, Steve May, who died in a motorcycle crash 13 years ago. Okay. Today, the couple's 5 remaining children live scattered across the country. I was just a baby in a crib, 2 months old, said Northrop, now 54, and living in Boise, Idaho. Wait, how could you... that kid must have been born... No, this is 2020. So this is a child that was like 1 or like months old when this murder happened. Because he'd be 56 right now. And this took place in July of... I mean, that's crazy. Because I'm 56, and I was born after this murder. So... It would be nice to know what happened to her. Let's see. I was just a baby in a crib, 2 months old. Oh, there you go. Well, that is what it said. I think I even read it out loud, but I didn't hear myself say it. But yeah, just a couple months old, and he's now 54 and living in Boise, Idaho, with her husband. It would be nice to know what happened to her. It made a big difference growing up. You become protective over your kids. Now a mother and grandmother herself, Northrop recalled her mother telling her how she found Wanda in the grass outside that summer night. My mom thinks she, Wanda, knew who killed her, but she couldn't speak, Northrop recalled her mother saying. The only photos Northrop said she ever seen of her aunt were an old school picture and one of her grave in Jolton. Northrop said she had studied her aunt's case for years. So, how is this person the aunt? Hold on. Oh yeah, that's right, her aunt. Yeah, her aunt though is only 10 years older than he is. 10 and a half, probably. My mom thinks she Wanda knew her killer. I knew exactly what the house looked like, Northrop said. I've looked at that property online, and right before my mom passed, she was going through cancer treatment at Vanderbilt. She asked to go buy the house. It's amazing how time didn't change it. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It is the original structure. It would have been nice to find out who killed her before my mom died, she said. It would mean a lot to the family to bring closure. I wonder if there's any nooks and crannies in that basement that nobody looked at back then. Wouldn't that be interesting if the hammer is in that property somewhere? Metro Police consider any unsolved homicide case a year or older to be cold case. Wanda unsolved slaying is one of 505 cold cases left open since the department formed in 1963. See, isn't that crazy? 505 cases just in their books. It sounds like a tremendous amount, and it is, but to put it into perspective, from 1963 to 2019, we had 4,355 murders. We cleared very close to 75% of that, Reynolds said. We hope for stories like this, where it spurs people in the community to talk about them and provide us with more info about them, so we can hopefully close the case with successful prosecution. Our two biggest challenges with cold cases are time and staffing, Reinhold said. I wish we could afford the dedication of our resources to every case, every time, but it's not feasible with the staff you have. The department plans to launch a website within 6 months that lists each cold case, in hopes he could was that out there? Let's see. I don't know. I don't see. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cold cases in Tennessee, but I'd like to know what the name of that website is. The department plans to launch a website within 6 months that lists each cold case. We're going forward hard with this, he said. They're not forgotten in our eyes. Anyone with information on Wanda June Anderson's case or any other cold case can call police at 615-862-7329. People can also call the police department Crime Stoppers Division anonymously at 615-74-CRIME. There you go. Well, it's just, it's wild. Now, right there, you can almost see him picturing what he saw. That's what they're all doing. What a nightmare. So that was the case of Wanda June Anderson. We went over a couple, updates earlier in the show on, I think it was the Brendan Santo, and also on, let's see, what's his name? Taylor Young. And then I also read you guys an email that I got regarding Beitelman as the show started. So hopefully you guys found the show interesting. Yeah, Blue's on the treadmill. Hey, Blue, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, Blue. But anyways, thank you guys very much for being here tonight, supporting the channel, and we got 2 new channel members. Thank you. If you want to join the channel, please do so. Are you leaning Brendan being in the river? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it just seems kind of odd now that 3 months have gone by and he hasn't turned up somewhere. Although we could easily, because it's still winter months with more rain, that his body could have been trapped underneath some of that, really dense foliage and branches that I showed you guys earlier. So I guess it's still possible. Well, thank you. And thank you to Brian Joe early on, and Lee D, Eugenie, Amber Maiden, thank you. Started a wave there with Amy CHS. Your Gypsy, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circle, Tina Susser, Sarita, Tawny Lee, Amy CHS, Cheyenne R, Kathy Friedmaker, Living It, as in Living the Dream, Candalee Woodward Stone, Dan Carr, A watched pig never boils. The Hawk, or POC, for Psycho and Whack Job Killer. Vid Inquiries, Miss Angels, then One Sly Angel. And then Richard Watts became a channel member again. And so did Sensible Crime, thank you. And then we had Richard Watts for the super chat, and Caddy Corner, Maybe Sunshine, Delva Johnson, Lori Fisher, the Mayor, Billy Juliana, Jiggy England, Sandra Halford, Miss Angels, Tawny Lee, Charisma, Dreaming Girl, Livin' It, Suzanne Marcella, Sandy Lee,
Gee.
Philly, Zozo, Vid Inquiries, One Sly Angel, Mark Pilgrim, Cammy Curry, then Maybe Sunshine, and Organism Gel. It's kind of gross if you think about it. Organism Gel, you know, sort of the meaningless stuff that floats around on any given organism. Although it might not be meaningless to them, you know what I'm saying? You know, you put salt on a slug, well, it gets rid of some of that meaningful stuff. Yep. What's going on with Shih Tzu Mom? I think she messaged me a while back. Where is she? Is she in here? What are you guys talking about? I can't see her comments. Yeah. Oh, there she is. Now, well, let's get you out of the hospital. Everybody put the prayers up there for Shih Tzu Mom. All right. Anyways, I hope everybody who's ailing out there does better. You know, it's been some weird times lately, but hell, you know what? We're all getting older. We're all getting older. All right, everybody. Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate you guys being here tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2 and a 3 and a...
And a 4 and a 5
I've been doing
and
this true crime thing for quite
Well, I was
a
just
while
saying
now.
1 and a 2 and a 3.
And during this whole
But I want to say 4 and a 5 and a 6.
one person
Oh, boy.
that is a
Crime dissector, the projector,
I'm a certified human lie
detector.
gonna get ya
On a stretcher, if you try and play me like an old projector.
crime
Sector,
is my
nectar.
Professor Grillo's gonna give another
Lecture.
Crime
Nectar.
freaking
Nectar.
and I'm always gonna be a
Protector.
fool
Flector.
intercept
Scepter.
and I'm meaner than a
Spectre.
spectre with a
Spectre.
on his
Spectre.
with all respect.
Spectre.
Just remember I've a temper fucking check.
Checker.
I have no agenda. I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody. Talk to you.
All right, everybody, thank you.
Are you smoking those low-cal cigarettes again, Mary Lou?
I sure am, Gray. You make me so stressed out. I just smoke every day.
Oh, so you're blaming it on me. You're blaming it on me yet again, Mary Lou.
Yes, I am. You made me start smoking.
Wait, you're not really upset, are you?
No, not really. Gee.
Oh, wait, so that... You just said G right there just to bug me, right? Because there was no real reason to say it at that point.
You got me figured out, Gray. You got me figured out. Good night, everybody. Gee.
Oh, whoa. All right, you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Wow.